Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Southern University, 20-year-old Caleb Wilson, a pledge of the fraternity Omega Psi Phi, was pronounced unalive as a result of a hazing accident. Let's get into it.
We break it down, no script, no mode. Raw and uncut, every gem is gold. Locked in now, let the facts unfold. Q bringing heat on Truth Be Told.
Yo, what's going on, squad? Welcome back to the Truth Be Told podcast. I'm your host, Q. Baton Rouge, Louisiana, HBCU, Southern University, 20-year-old Caleb Wilson, who was a student there in the intricate part of the school's band, better known as the Human Beatbox. Caleb Wilson was also a pledge for fraternity Omega Psi Phi. Now, if you've been living under a rock, you probably haven't heard this story. However, I'll bring you up to speed if you haven't by giving you the context. Now, a couple of weeks ago, it has been reported that Caleb Wilson, who was pledging for fraternity Omega Psi Phi, Caleb and 8 other individuals were brought to a warehouse to an unsanctioned pledging ritual. And at this pledging ritual, each pledge was to stand up and be struck in the chest 4 times by already existing fraternity brothers. Now, when it got to Caleb's turn, and Caleb was struck the 4th time, Caleb collapsed. When Caleb collapsed, the other pledges were instructed to go into a different part of the warehouse. While they were in that part of the warehouse, Caleb was tended to. Now, here's where the story gets a little murky. Caleb was placed in the car of Isaiah Smith, who's the dean of pledges. Isaiah Smith also was the person who furnished the warehouse, as the warehouse was leased out to Isaiah Smith's father. Isaiah Smith takes Caleb to the hospital. He drops him off, but he tells the attendees there that Caleb Wilson had passed out due to an incident that happened in the park on the basketball court. He had gotten hit in the chest while playing basketball. It was later deemed by the authorities that that was a lie. Now, there are 3 people involved with these charges. There's Isaiah Smith, again, the dean of pledges. There's Kyle Thurman, and there's also Caleb McCrae. All 3 of these individuals have been charged with criminal hazing. Now, approximately 7 years ago in Baton Rouge, criminal hazing had been deemed as a felony. So why it's still being done, can't figure that out. Now, in addition to the criminal hazing, Caleb McCrae was also hit with the charge of manslaughter because it has been reported that Caleb McCrae struck the fatal blow. Now, this form of hazing is not new. As a matter of fact, these results are not new. This has happened a multitude of times between sororities and fraternities. If you guys remember, approximately maybe 7 years ago at Penn State, there was a fraternity pledge by the name of Timothy Piazza. Timothy Piazza was pledging Beta Theta Pi. And part of this pledging ritual that Timothy Piazza was going through was a force-filled alcohol incident that had taken place intermittently in a 12-hour span. So in a 12-hour span, Timothy Piazza was force-fed alcohol on an intermittent basis. Now, at the height of Timothy's inebriation, Timothy fell down a flight of stairs, a 15-foot flight of stairs. In trying to revive Timothy's unconscious self, they were pushing him, screaming, kicking, hitting, punching. Now, in that particular incident, which has been the largest criminal investigation for hazing that we know in history in this particular country, there were 28 separate people being charged. Of those 28, 4 were given jail time and 1 was given home detention. That's Luke Visner, who got 2 to 6 months jail, Michael Bonatucci, who got 1 to 6 months jail time, Joshua Krasuski, who got 3 to 9 months jail time, and then there was Joseph Sala, who got 3 to 10 months of house arrest. Now, it had been reported at the time that the judge was trying to commute the jail time to house arrest for the first 3 gentlemen. My question is, because I've never pledged before, so I'm needing to be schooled. I'm looking to have someone answer this question for me. Why is it necessary, in order for someone to pledge to a fraternity or sorority, to go through a ritual that is deemed life-threatening? Why is it that military-style rituals are taking place in a space of academia? The question is, where do we go from here? Do we continue these rituals? Are these rituals, do we put this in a government hand? Do we put this in the school's hand? Or would this be the chapter's hand? Who makes the call? Who pulls those strings? Who's in charge? These are innocent lives at hand. It should not take this type of activity to prove someone worthy who's trying to be a force in your fraternity. So chime in. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know what the next step should be. What do you think the next step should be to eliminate this? What do you think we should do? Until next time, I'm your host, Q. Thank you for coming to the Houston. Until next time, thank you for coming to the Truth Be Told podcast. I'm your host, Q, and I'm out.